Welcome to OTR, a friendly debate, a show where lawyers engage in impassioned yet ultimately unconvincing arguments on topics ranging from music and movies, TV to pop culture, to philosophical topics, to everything in between. My name is Mucci, and I will be the judge for this week's episode, in which we'll be discussing what's better, PlayStation or Xbox, and arguing for PlayStation, the Sony boy himself, Lando.
Sony boy?
Yeah, you're the Sony
okay.
boy.
Sure. Whatever.
And as Nathan Fielder's second choice for the Bill Gates impersonator, arguing for Xbox will be Pat.
Oh, thanks, Mucci. Really appreciate that introduction. Happy to be here. Just going to crush it today.
So before we get started, let me go over the format. First, we're going to have each side give their opening statements. And then, as the judge, I'll ask them a series of questions, and we'll just have a discussion. And then they'll do closing arguments at the end, and then I'll make a decision as the judge of this debate here. So before we get started, as always, we're going to flip a coin.
Pat's got the coin right now.
Yeah.
Who's got it?
All right.
Okay, who's going to call it? And don't point this time.
I'll call it.
Ladies
Okay.
in the call.
Tails.
You're going to call tails. Okay.
And it's tails. So, Lando, what do you want to do?
I'll go second.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's great. I actually have something prepared this time, unlike my opponent.
That's
so.
one of us, yeah.
Right. So, like I said, arguing the side of the Xbox, I think that essentially if you look at the state of video games today, it is just an immensely popular pastime for everyone. People are streaming, they're playing online, they're playing cross-platform. There is just all these people that are coming together. It's competitive, there's esports. All of these things have been advanced, and I don't think there's, in the reality where Xbox doesn't exist, these things don't exist either. So, all to say that these things that we enjoy today that make gaming this cultural phenomenon are all due to the Xbox having pushed that envelope.
Okay. Thank you, Pat.
In a way, Xbox is looking to the future.
I thought you were done.
Whereas, Lando here is just stuck in the past with his PlayStation fanboyism. Okay, now I'm done. So I just had to get one more jam in there.
Sure. All right, now that you're done.
Thank you, follow that up?
Yeah, I mean, when you...
Real strong opener here.
Yeah, I mean,
listen, I'll just say for PlayStation has been around a little bit longer. Consistently with every single new console that comes out, PlayStation's selling more units. People just favor the PlayStation. I mean, that's my go-to argument, right? Whenever it comes to something like this, it's, look at the numbers. But apart from the numbers, PlayStation just has better games. I mean, Xbox has, a game? Sorry, but fuck Xbox. Probably got no games. They've got... What's that one?
Objection. This is going nowhere.
just devolving into I think you should leave quote.
Slander. Are you going to abide that in your courtroom, moderator?
Objection argumentative.
He's loving it. So, PlayStation has better games. They have better game franchises. I keep forgetting the name of it because it's one of the... Oh, Halo. Halo's the franchise that they
don't
have.
Don't blame me because you're ignorant.
That's because it sucks. I mean, it sucks. And that's their big franchise, right? That's their big name, and that's why people need to buy it and play it. And I guess Destiny is something that our friend Matty likes, but... I mean,
oh, yeah! Are we going to try to get him on the pod today? I think we scheduled the appointment, and he's ready to jump in.
We've been teasing it for weeks. We've tried to get him every single week up until now, and it hasn't worked.
Completely busy. He's so busy.
Playing Destiny.
Playing Destiny. I would be calling him as an adverse witness in this. In my case in chief.
All right, let's get this show on the road.
Let's get to the
what do you
case
want
in
us
chief.
to talk about today? How are we going to structure this already contentious shit show?
Well, okay, so Pat, you discussed the online aspect of it, and maybe delve more into that, because the Xbox, I understand it was, when it first came out, way better at online than its contemporaries like PS2, which had some kind of online, but not to the extent that the Xbox Live kind of did.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the original Xbox, it was a pioneer. I don't think there's any other way to describe it. So, sure, yeah, PS2, there's a dial-up modem you could screw into the back of it, hook up a phone line to Oh, I think my brother used it to download new rosters for Madden. Oh, cutting edge stuff at the time. Whereas on Xbox, you have friends lists. You have gamer tags. You can invite people to play the same games. You have your status.
It
which
sounds
is
like these. I
literally
wish we were on video.
fundamental to online gaming today. These are all features that were in the original Xbox that had that eye toward the future of having people come together.
Just to give the audience a peek behind the curtain here, we had to re-record that part because of some sirens that Pat did it 100% sassier than the first time he did it.
I'm fired up today.
Yes.
I have a migraine. I have 2 jobs and I'm closing on a house right now. I do not have time for this shit.
I think he wants it more.
He does.
He's hungrier.
Literally.
What?
I ate a spoon of peanut butter.
Yeah, I guess, sure. I'll just say,
Yeah, great rebuttal there. Mucci, moving on. Give me the point.
Okay, fine. I'll give you the point for the online, especially since it had it from the beginning. But
This
now,
is really going to be like that episode of South Park. Xbox did it. Simpsons did it.
Xbox did it. Xbox did it. Lando, to one of Lando's points from his opening, then.
Thank you.
Better games, and at the end of the day, I think that's what it comes down to. Tell us about, the better games on the PlayStation.
Yeah, what do you like? What's your
So
style? 'Cause
I
I
don't
think that
really-
completely depends on what you actually enjoy playing.
I don't really play PlayStation that much. I mean,
Yet he spent how much money on a PS5?
I didn't spend anything, actually. We'll get to
gift?
that later because I have
stole
a
it?
witness. No, I have a witness that's going to testify to that. We'll talk about that later. But as far as the games are concerned, I just finished the Spider-Man game.
Not on Xbox.
It's not on Xbox, yeah, correct. It's a great game, and I think
Yeah, keep it that way. You can have it.
I think
It's
a lot
pizza
of
time.
what is that?
No, it's from
Spider-Man
the original Spider-Man
Oh,
game for PS3. Slinging webs and delivering pizzas.
I'm
It
not well
demeans
versed
its
in this.
audience.
The story in that game was really good. I was talking to Mucci about it. Probably one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. Like, it had a really good story to it.
We did
So-
watch the Spider-Man movie together.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You did.
Was that last week? 2 weeks
a
ago?
week ago today.
Apart from that, what else do they have? They have Final Fantasy. They have the Horizon games. I started playing that one. It's like some kind of weird post-apocalyptic something or other.
Okay, main description weird.
Uncharted, The Last of Us.
Yep.
Great games. Ooh, cannot forget Sackboy. And then exclusively on
PlayStation
PlayStation.
Boy and Sackboy.
No,
His favorite
Sackboy.
exclusive.
Lando
very-
is the Sackboy.
A very exclusive PlayStation game, Astro's Playroom. It's great, and you have to play it at the very beginning. When you first get the PlayStation,
comes
you have to play
preloaded.
that game.
The PlayStation 5.
And
So-
I'm sure, what does Xbox have? Like
Yeah.
X-Boy?
So let's talk about AAA titles that you will actually want to play and not some shitty cash grab from the MCU.
Doesn't have anything to do with the MCU.
It's Spider-Man.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
Wow.
and these,
move on from
I'm
that.
saying
Maybe
like these
Marvel.
other games are just C-tier shovelware. Yeah, this is
An
Atari
Uncharted or
version 2.
shovelware.
I mean,
Left
both
4
of
Dead,
both of those game franchises have movies coming out too.
True. Well,
that is not an
TV
indicator
series.
of quality. Oh, they're releasing the 20th MCU movie. Yeah, fucking. There's a lack of taste. Speaking of taste, I think that some of these genre-defining games have been released on Xbox here. Halo, basically, I mean, there wouldn't be decent third-person shooters today without Halo. I mean, the way that it introduced it, the seamless gameplay, the graphics for the time are revolutionary. And in my mind, again, I didn't own it. I just played it a hell of a lot at a friend's house, possibly because I thought my parents were going through a divorce. But just the soundtrack that comes in when you're starting with your troop and coming in, incredible. And again, with that was one of the games where it allowed you to go online and play, but also it took the late 90s, early aughts. Well, I guess this came out in 2001, the original Xbox, but the late 90s aspect of having like a big LAN party. But instead, you could just hook some Xboxes in natively to an Ethernet switch and in somebody's basement have your own competitive Halo thing.
So you bring up a point that I did want to discuss, actually, and that is you brought up a memory of playing it as a kid at your friend's house. And
I got
stuff
a
like
lot of trouble for not telling my parents I was coming home to stay at a LAN party.
Right. So I wanted to go into like your guys' favorite
Nerd.
like memory memory. We're talking about the nerdiest possible topic.
No, we've got some nerdy topics.
Yeah, I guess so. But
We'll post a picture of me as a child on the official fan page, and you'll understand real quick.
Here's my question for you, Mucci. Are we debating Xbox and PlayStation now or throughout
I actually
the years?
felt like Mucci was asking you a question.
Well, I'm going to ask him a question first.
Ruling judge.
Through the years. So
Through the years.
you know, Xbox versus PS2, you can say. I mean, which is like what we've been talking about. But yeah, obviously today.
So 2 decades worth.
Forza.
You can cover it. Forza versus Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo.
But I want to get into your personal memories with the different systems, your favored console family. So maybe since you shared a memory, Pat, Lando, do you have a memory of
I have a really strong memory of no, actually not PlayStation. I've got a really strong memory of Xbox.
Okay.
So when Xbox 360 came out, I was like, I'll try this, right? And I was like, in high school? So yeah, I was like really excited. There was that war game that came out with the 360. I think it was like a combo game. I don't remember. Gears of War. I do remember. Gears of War came out. And then like the first week that I had it, I got the red ring on the Xbox and just totally shot. Couldn't fix it. I tried to look up everything on how to make it work.
Well, you just gotta wrap it in a little blanket.
I think that was something I did.
So the solution?
No,
I actually don't know because I never had an Xbox.
I tried it and
I think it was bad traces on the board, and so you have to like heat it up to reflow some of the solder.
Now, did anything like that ever happen with like a PlayStation product?
So hold on, I'm not done with my bad memory because this went on for a while. So I returned it. I forget how because it had a warranty, right? So I got a new one, and that lasted about a couple months. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I mean, it's slow and kind of acts up every time. Like every other time that I try to play something, it doesn't read the disc. And then the red ring again, the second Xbox. So then I did the exact same thing, and I got a third one. And then finally, I got the third one, played for a little bit, and then didn't really play it at all. So, I mean,
so even when you got it fixed, you still didn't really want to play it?
Because I was already pissed off at the time.
Why didn't you buy it?
Such bullshit. No, I didn't pay for it. I just kept on getting another free one.
Right.
So Xbox, the company, gave me 3 different Xboxes.
2 of them failed, and one of them you just didn't want to play anymore.
To be honest, I don't really remember. But I think the third one might have also crashed on me somehow, and then I just kind of stopped playing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, not when you're the consumer, it's not fair.
No, I mean your response,
and then it ends with "I don't really remember."
Yeah.
Well,
To share a negative anecdote very quickly, I worked a shitty job at an ice cream shop in town in high school, slinging cream for like below minimum wage, and so I saved up all fucking summer. Like I was working doubles and stuff just to get enough money. It was like what, $550, however, like the ridiculous price of the PlayStation. And so I get it, and I'm like, okay, I got a shift that starts at 5 today. I'm gonna go to Best Buy, get it home, play Gran Turismo because I actually like the series. We'll get to that later if need be, but why I don't anymore. And
get
so
a car crash.
I get it home.
It's very traumatic.
And before I can play the game, it has to update. And PS3 was notorious, so it's like a fucking hour and a half to update. I'm like, we had like broadband and stuff then, so I'm like, okay, come on. And it finally updates. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I got like an hour and a half before the shift or an hour before the shift. I can play like, a couple laps, a couple races, Gran Turismo, let's go. Mm-hmm. Plug it in, it's like, sorry, you can't play Gran Turismo until Gran Turismo updates. I'm like, God damn it! So I think I literally played for 5 minutes and then was late to my shift at the ice cream job.
But I actually am curious, and I'll probably forget to ask later, but why don't you like the series anymore?
Well, I mean, we played GT5
Sport.
or whatever, GT Sport together, and, that's okay. But, like, for me, Gran Turismo 4 for PlayStation 3 was fantastic. They had all the great modeling and stuff, and a lot of effort went into it. And then that title, which, used to be a flagship title for PlayStation, has just languished. One of those exclusives that has just been allowed to rot on the vine. Mm-hmm. When you look at what Forza is doing, on Xbox or PC, cross-platform gaming is a big part of why I think Xbox shines in that respect. They're not locking things down, which is better for the consumer, but Forza is 4K, stunning graphics, great online community, just so much more of a polished game when you look at what little you're getting for spending $70 on GT Sport.
Mm-hmm.
But
Isn't that one of your favorite games, Mucci? Aren't you always playing Gran Turismo?
I did play that a lot, yeah, and I liked it.
Like currently, like you're playing it now, right?
I haven't played it for a while, but I used to log on, get my daily kind of. You do like a daily mileage sort
get
of
you a
thing.
car, yeah.
Yeah, you get a car
raffle.
every day. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
On the PS5?
I played on the PS5. Yeah, it's a PS4 game. Yeah. Does anyone? Do you
It's
have any
kind of just
experience with,
soured
like,
on it. You know, I've soured on it.
Oh, I mean, but you've had it for longer than I have, I think, too. But do you have any experience with like Game Pass or anything like that? Did you have any input on that at all? I don't know.
I think my brother had like the Game Pass. You know, what I liked about 360 was that they introduced, you know, you had to pay for the original Xbox online. That's one of the things that funded all the great servers and stuff for the original Xbox. But when you got the 360, there was a free tier for online play. The Xbox Silver, you know, Gold gave you more customization and everything else, but at least had a little something out for free. You know, now everything is paid tiers. But if you look at what you get for PlayStation Plus, which I subscribe to, and what Xbox is offering with Game Pass, you know, PlayStation Plus, oh, sure, here's a free copy of XCOM 2 that, you know, you can get at a bin by the register at Walmart. Whereas Xbox Game Pass is like, oh, you want to play this new first-party AAA game? Here you go.
That's true.
You know, on sale, you can find a 3-year plan of Games Pass for Xbox for like $130.
Are we talking about currently? Like they're currently offering this? Or this is with the Xbox 360?
This is
Game
currently
Pass.
for the series, whatever. But
So,
you're going to pay
'cause I only
$70 a piece for a single title on the PlayStation system.
So, because I know the PlayStation
I will say
Plus.
that since owning a PS5, I've not spent $70 on any single game. Most games I probably buy for like $15-$20, but
Yeah, you're pouring that money into the podcast, as you should.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing with it.
It's a high budget podcast here.
Yeah, you got to buy the beer and snacks.
What were you saying? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
What was I saying? Oh, for PlayStation Plus, I know they have the 3 games that you could download and install every month. So you have those that are available to you. And you have like 20 something games that you just get with PlayStation Plus. And then
They're
you get 3
extremely
additional.
solid too, like
Yeah.
The Last of Us 1 and like Persona 5 and things like that. Yeah,
Right. And they're great
God of War.
games. But then you get additional.
You know, if you're sad or a weeb, you know.
I mean, either way.
I'm
you're
being an
playing
asshole
Xbox
here.
or
I have
PlayStation.
PlayStation Plus. Like,
No, but so a lot of times, at least one of those 3 games that you get per month is a solid game. I mean, there's been a couple of misses for like every once in a while, but every time they have those 3 games that come out, like there's at least one that I know I definitely want to play.
but, you know, it rotates each month. So, like, I haven't logged into my PS4 in, like, however many months, and I didn't get those ones because they disappear. Xbox Game Pass, it's there for you. You get actually something for your subscription. It's not some gamified thing that Sony's trying to cheap out on.
Do they just keep adding games? Like, I don't know how it works, so how does it...
Yeah, I believe they keep adding games. It's analogous in my mind to Nintendo's online, whatever it's called, that I also subscribe to. Can you tell I'm not great with money? But you get their whole back catalog of like their, you know, all their older games that are classics and kind of things.
And
not
like
all of them.
brand
And their
new
e-store
games,
is a
I
whole
think is
thing. You know, now we can cover later on another podcast. But
I mean,
yeah,
that
I
sounds...
think there's a greater value. All to say,
it sounds like a good value. For
That
sure.
sounds legit. It sounds like a good deal. I wonder why no one's buying an Xbox.
well, I mean, should we get a
Caller,
caller?
your witness.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's call him.
Okay.
So
Matty.
I would like to call, as an adverse witness, our friend Matty.
Not just our friend, but a friend of the pod.
Well, that's
You will
to
be
be
a friend
determined.
of the pod after, yeah.
Frenemy
if
of
he
the
picks
pod?
up.
Yeah, if he picks up. All right, I'm going to call him right now.
Yo,
Hey, Matty.
what's up, buddy?
It's OTR calling. You got a minute?
What's up, boys? Yep.
So,
Hey.
So, Matty, I'm calling you as a witness here.
All right, a witness.
Do we need to swear him in?
I think our moderator, our judge, has to swear you in.
Matty, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, yeah, you're sworn in.
Great. Matty,
Orlando.
you have an Xbox, right?
I do,
And you only play Destiny, right?
more or less.
Okay. Isn't it true that you bought a PlayStation 5?
There's an explanation. For
Isn't
that.
it true that you bought a PlayStation 5? And it's a yes or no question. It's very simple. All right, so if you want me to repeat it, I'll repeat it. Did you or did you not buy a PlayStation 5?
Yes, I did.
That's Matty. Hey, you heard it.
And why do we care about what Matty said?
Just wanted to show, a strong Xbox supporter.
A strong, sexy Xbox supporter.
Well, if those are your feelings for Matty, I guess I can't,
I mean, you can just tell by his voice. So
He is
I
single.
understand
I'll
that
just throw that out there. He's single, ladies.
This PlayStation he bought was actually a gift from your baby's mama to you? Am I understanding this correctly? Is that
I was
the
just
truth?
going to leave it at he bought a PlayStation.
For you, on behalf
There's no testimony of that.
of your baby mama. So, Mucci, catch your breath. Where are we taking this next?
You want to talk about controllers?
Yeah, I'd love to. When it comes to controllers, I don't think you can deny that Xbox really pushed the controller into what we consider the modern age. They switched the position of the D-pad and the analog stick, which improved ergonomics so much. Speaking of ergonomics, do we remember the giant controller that came out, the first controller for the original Xbox? It's the size of like 2 baked potatoes. They call it the Duke. People complained like, "Oh, it's too big." Oh my god, that's the most comfortable thing I've ever used. You just clamp onto it, and it has some heft. I like seeing that in a controller. But in all seriousness, I don't know if you know, but Xbox has this thing called their adaptive controller. It's what it works is it breaks each individual button or stick or whatever into a separate module. And even instead of the sticks, they have these big turntable-sized pads. And so what allows people to do that are sort of differently abled to build their own controller that fits, what they can actually access. Mm-hmm. So that someone who can't hold and use a controller like the way it was designed can still play games. So it opens up, like I said, Xbox is all about just democratizing and making sure everybody who wants to can participate.
Democratizing.
Yeah. We live in a democracy.
Who got
For
that
now.
vote?
But the important thing, and I think it's remarkable here, is that it uses USB, so this Xbox-developed controller is compatible with Switch. It's compatible with PlayStation. You can use it on your computer.
Because they need to, because no one's buying an Xbox, so they need that controller to be part of their profit margin when they're, trying to sell it for a Switch.
And yet, what has Sony done?
This
Nothing.
is what I'll say.
Nothing.
This is what I'll say about the Xbox
You'll say
controller.
nothing. You shut your whore mouth.
The Xbox controller still uses batteries, right? You still have to plug in batteries.
If you want to.
I think you still have to use batteries. See,
That
the
you
PlayStation
can recharge.
Batteries.
batteries.
You can plug it in.
But you're still using batteries, right? So if you want to go further out and you want to be on your couch or whatever, you gotta have batteries, which is kind of like a
What do you
like a
think
Game
is
Boy, like
inside
an
of
old
a
Game Boy.
PlayStation?
Something that you could charge and you don't need to buy.
What do you think they call that
mean,
provides power to a PlayStation?
Hey,
controller?
I'm talking about
I think
AA
it
batteries.
might
Like you
start with a
literally need
B.
to put AA battery, or maybe it's AAA. I'm sorry, into the Xbox controller. So then you got to
AAA
buy
batteries or
those.
AAA
Do you not own AA batteries?
I mean, yeah, I've got some, but if I'm playing,
Well,
and-
with the $100 price difference between the consoles, I think you can afford a couple of batteries. There's, some wiggle room there.
Hey,
And
if
that's-
you want
that's
to
the
keep
point
putting those
also,
in
is
there,
that
that's
Xbox
fine.
allows you, and this was so important with the 360 because the PS3 was incredibly expensive, as I know, from saving up my cream money. But, Xbox allows you to buy a lower spec system than, you want to add on an expanded hard drive. You want to add on the Wi-Fi for the 360. You want to add on HDMI. You can do that and save up as you go along.
I
You
don't
buy
think
the
you-
console for cheaper, you can buy as many batteries as you want.
I don't think you can make the same argument of Xbox is the future, whereas the Xbox controller is using AA batteries like a Game Boy from fucking 20 years ago.
What do you do when the battery in your PlayStation controller dies?
Has that happened yet? I haven't heard of that happening.
Do you plan on playing it for more than 5 years?
Probably not, because there's probably going to be something else. I barely play it now.
So we see Orlando's whole point is he's flush with cash, buying
No.
everything under the sun, having incredible regrets for it, and just comes on with that bitter taste in his mouth.
Also, I'll point out this with controllers. If we want to talk about controllers in the future and who paved the way, who came up with the what are they the sticks?
Dual analog sticks.
Yeah, who did that? I'm pretty sure Pat told me a little bit ago that it was PlayStation.
It's PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about the future, the sticks are
DualShock,
the VR stuff, and that's Oculus. So that's even beyond the scope here.
Does
The
Xbox
dual
have a
analog
VR?
sticks to the past.
Does Xbox have a VR?
Yeah, PlayStation's got a
PlayStation's
VR.
got
I don't-
VR.
Honestly, I have no idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
they
We're
don't. So you're
talking
making the
about,
argument for me.
Virtual reality stuff. There's the Kinect, right? This stereo camera with an infrared sensor, a depth sensor. That this used
Isn't
to be.
that Nintendo?
No.
What?
Connect?
The Xbox. Okay, we're clearly dealing. I don't know if you're pulling my leg or if you're actually just ignorant.
I have no idea.
Okay, so it's this
I don't know
thing
anything.
that has two cameras, like two optical cameras, so it can sense depth and color. I think it has an IR sensor in it as well. These things used to be like $1,000, but Xbox put it together into this. Was it even $100? I don't even know how much it was, but it allowed you to do 3D capture and interact in a way that wasn't possible before. Yeah, PlayStation had their iToy thing that was just. I
Probably
don't know what
the
it was
same
called.
thing.
I used
Yeah,
it for about
PlayStation
3 months before it wore off, but this was such a step forward. In my job, I review a lot of research, and so many papers still to this day, they're trying to capture and study the way humans move. They use a Kinect. Literally, it's still something that is such a contribution, even outside of games, that physical researchers at universities use these things because they're just that great. It's just like a controller that anyone can use. It's a service, I think, to those who want to use it. Xbox is all about having an open platform. It's easier to develop because it uses a lot of the same technology as Windows PCs. Instead of being its own walled garden, of Sony, whatever proprietary stuff they're doing. And, to that point, they also have crossplay. They pioneered that. I think there are
Who do they crossplay
a handful.
with?
A
There's got to be
handful
there's got to be another platform for them to crossplay with.
Do you own a computer?
I mean,
Well, he's using a Mac, so that question can be answered no. But
but they're playing with other PlayStation people.
No,
And
man.
by the way, the one game that I played so apart from the Spider-Man game, basically the only game that I play is Call of Duty, and I used to hate those kind of games, but
Plebe.
that's what I've played. And whenever I'm playing,
sorry.
I guess there's some Xbox people, but it seems like it's all PlayStation people. So I'm not,
Are
as
you sure?
informed.
You might just be playing with PlayStation people because you're on a
Nope.
PlayStation.
I see the Xbox controllers on there. I see that they're playing, just not as many. And I know it's not because you can't find an Xbox, because there's plenty around. There's a shortage in PlayStations because everyone's buying them. But Xbox,
Maybe they aren't making enough to meet demand.
S-
Maybe they're just artificially constricting supply. We are, as I understand it, in a chip shortage. There are significant supply chain delays. And what if Microsoft was savvy
They're
enough
using
to
the
base
same
more
chip,
of their
aren't they?
production stateside?
I'm pretty sure they're using the same chip.
Are they using the same chip?
They are.
We're eating the same chips. But, maybe they got their orders in straight. And really, this whole supply chain crisis is just order managers in March 2020 thinking it was going to be recession and completely misgauging the actual what would happen during COVID with stimulus and things and
Yeah.
demand actually increasing for certain markets.
They didn't realize that people would be loving the PlayStation 5 so much that they wouldn't be able to supply them with their console.
Yeah, they're surprised. Cause,
And Xbox was...
With their counsel?
No, not console. Stupid.
Who's on first or something? So speaking of sales or the ability to, find PlayStation 5s versus Xboxes and which one's selling better, what are the numbers? Which consoles do sell better, PlayStations or Xboxes?
So over the past 2 decades that the Xbox and PlayStations have been going at it, looking at my notes, PlayStation 2 and Xbox came out around the same time. Was it around 2000, 2001? PlayStation 2 became the best-selling system until PlayStation 4. So Xbox completely lost out on that one in terms of sales.
Except for the 360 then, which competed with the
Hear me out. 360 came out a year ahead of the PlayStation 3, 2005 to 2006. Sony outsold the Xbox. However, Xbox might have had a slight profit margin because of some delays and some product, malfunctions and stuff. But the Nintendo Wii actually won that little battle there. So we do have someone named Wii that we were going to have call into the show. He was unfortunately unavailable. But that was the 7th generation of game systems, if you will. But they also had the Red Ring of Death, so whatever. Then came the
As
Xbox.
if the PS3 was a flawless piece of hardware.
Let me help you out here.
Oh, thank you.
PlayStation 2 is the best-selling console of all time. It sold over 155 million units. The best-selling Xbox is the 360, which has sold over 84 million units. So just
For
the
how many?
PlayStation 2 has sold almost twice as much as the Xbox 360. Better selling than these 360 are PlayStation 4 and the original PlayStation, as well as the PlayStation 3.
So did the Xbox? So you're saying the Xbox 360? That's their
Their
best
bestseller.
seller. Doesn't mean necessarily that it outsold PlayStation
It didn't.
3.
It didn't.
Right. So even
PlayStation 2,
3's
PlayStation 4, the original PlayStation, and PlayStation 3 are all ahead of it
right.
in terms of sales.
And then I
Something
think the next
that's
generation
worth-
after that was the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and then at that point the PlayStation just outdid them by like double, I think.
You might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I wrote it down.
Yeah, more
So-
than double. Yeah, you're right.
Something
So-
worth considering here, given that we are conducting this podcast in the West and have, according to our metrics, a primarily Western audience, is the unique position of Sony in the Japanese domestic market. So you may recall that Sega used to make systems. And so alongside the PlayStation 2, there was the Sega Dreamcast. And so the Sega Dreamcast sold so many units within Japan, but it's just to say that Sega was this huge brand in Japan, but didn't really do a whole lot in the West.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at, these numbers you're reading off are aggregate worldwide. But when you look at what's actually the sales are in the West, it's a lot closer. The average Japanese consumer is going to own a lot more systems. And Sony, because it has that sort of home field presence, completely is just, the demand domestically for them is insane. But if you look at what's actually being bought in the US, in Europe, and the rest of Asia, outside of Japan, it's actually a lot closer. Microsoft, sure, has had trouble breaking into that Japanese market, but that doesn't mean that they're selling half as many units in the US. It just means that Japan is banking on the stuff back in their home market to, have their less than stellar performance elsewhere in the world.
I'm noticing that
different
you keep
focuses.
saying closer. So that still means that PlayStation's outselling domestically as well, right?
I actually don't have the domestic numbers, but we can
I'm
add
sensing that they do. Otherwise, you would have started with that.
that in. Oh no, I honestly, that's just something I thought of driving on the way over here. Anyways, I just think that's an important thing to know, that these statistics that you guys are reading off have a big asterisk as far as where those sales distributed. Mm-hmm. Game systems are sold outside of the U.S. just because, the place around the corner doesn't have a PS5 and you have to rely on Matty to mule one for you. Doesn't mean that
He's a great friend.
those are the conditions everywhere.
Not everyone has a friend like Matty. No, yeah, I agree with
True
that.
friend of the pod.
Mm-hmm. So, anything you guys want to cover before going into closings, or do you just want to go into closings?
I opened this thing. Gonna close this thing.
Okay, go ahead.
I really want to harken back to one of the previous episodes here. Mm-hmm. Very contentious one. And that's Beatles versus Rolling Stones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
And so if you look at this idea that takes a cultural phenomenon, makes it accessible to so many people from so many different walks of life, that has influences and ripples beyond just their genre, beyond just beyond just console gaming into computers, beyond just local gaming into online things, beyond just one single controller into things that are accessible. If you look at the Beatles as a band that truly defined a genre and shaped all of music beyond just the rock they were playing, everyone, will say they got some inspiration from them. I think that can be said also of the Xbox. Of the console wars, I think the Xbox is definitely the Beatles in that respect. Maybe PS3 is, the PlayStations are Grateful Dead. I don't know.
But
Nintendo's got to be,
which one do you think kept the edge? Which one do you think is more edgy?
Yeah, I'm a little confused
console?
by this because you were arguing for Rolling Stones. So if the Beatles are Xbox, PlayStation would be the Rolling Stones, right? And you
The
thought
band
that
that
they
you
kept
prefer.
the edge.
Yeah, and I was proven wrong. So
least
this
you'll
is
admit
just really
that.
consistent with the president in this podcast. So
Fair enough.
I just want to say, if we're apparently it's important to some people about the widespread effects that this phenomena has, and I think you can look at all the features and all the ideas that are new to the Xbox that have then been introduced and followed, copied by other players in the gaming space. I think it's undeniable the contribution at a fundamental level that Xbox has done for it.
Okay. Thanks, Pat.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm just going to tell our dear moderator here that this decision should be an easy one for him. Mucci, you have Matty on one side with an Xbox who plays Destiny all the time, and you've got me with a PlayStation. Unless I'm mistaken, we're both some of your closest friends. Would you choose me over him? No. Would you choose him over me? I would hope not. However, you did choose a PlayStation over an Xbox. Do the right thing and convict Matty and sentence him to the red ring of death. That's my
Am I
closing.
mistaken? I thought I was on this episode too, not just Matty.
You don't even have an Xbox.
Yeah, and
You've had a PlayStation, though.
Yeah, obviously it's PlayStation. It was always going to be PlayStation.
What?
I'm
I
sorry.
don't even get a chance to rebut.
We've never done rebuttal.
Well, I'm going to
Okay,
rebut now.
just-
I know
yeah,
your
go ahead,
judgment,
go
and
ahead.
I'm just going to say this.
Lay the grounds for an appeal.
You said that Mucci chose a PlayStation, and I think, as has been established on this show, choice is an illusion. I'm not going to feel too bad that
true,
you're,
man.
and these are in finger quotes here, choosing PlayStation over Xbox.
It's predetermined.
Yeah.
Lando gets the point this week.
Thank
Full
you.
point.
I appreciate it.
And
Does Matty get sentenced to death, though?
Yeah.
He doesn't get sentenced to death. I'm not going to sentence
Well, I
my
think
other,
that's just
one of my other best friends
taking
to death,
away one of his points.
to the red ring of death. But Pat, I will give you a 10th of a point for a very interesting stuff that I actually really didn't know about the Xbox. So I will give you a 10th of a point.
Yeah,
there.
well, we all know, Lando is completely lacking in
And hopefully our
originality in
listeners
his
are keeping a
argument,
tally
so-
of this, the points as we go forward. Lando's 100th of a point from the first episode, or second episode, I think, right?
Which is still up for appeal.
That's true. All right. Thank you guys for listening. We are now actually on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, a bunch of different places you can get your podcast. So like and subscribe, leave a review. Next week, we will actually be, someone will be a devil's advocate in a contract for the sale of someone's soul. Is that enforceable? We'll be delving into some
Can you
contract
sell
law
your souls
theories
to the
there.
devil?
Right. Is that enforceable? So that'll be our next episode coming out in a couple weeks. And stay tuned. And thank you for listening to OTR Friendly Debate.
All right, I just want to thank this week's sponsor, Trojan. You're a young, disease-free man, bravely venturing into the dating world. You've been smart, protected yourself, and didn't get COVID. So be smart, protect yourself, and don't get a girl pregnant. Trojan. It's like a mask for your Johnson.